5. It is that time, live at 5. Hey, everybody. We're just getting the intro coming in, and we're ready to take off. And hello, South Florida. Welcome to the TGIF edition of the Real Estate Show. That's right, TGIF to the third degree. And we're going to talk about why we came up with that one today. But welcome. You're listening to the Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Willner. We are here live Monday through Friday. We are heard 5 days a week, right here live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And once again, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So 2 times a day, 5 times a week. That's 10 shows that we have been doing. And today, our Friday, is part of the F is our, finally we're finished. And we're going to wrap up and hit the highlights of this week's programs. Really, obviously, been a super busy week. Lots of ups and downs out there in the marketplace. Lots of ups and downs, even with the folks out there who are just, one of the F's there for the TGIF is, thank God, I'm fatigued. And there's just been so much news, so much controversy going on out there. But one thing has always been steady, and that's the Real Estate Show. The Real Estate Show now in its 22nd year, America's longest running daily radio show, is here to give you the news, the straight news, the good news, and the real estate news all together. So I want to say a super good real estate day to all of you out there in the real estate world. And those of you listening to us either on our local stations, AM 1470, that's here in the South Florida area. Then on FM dial, we're 3 places. On one end at 95.3 FM, the other end at 103.9 FM, and right down the middle at 96.9 on the FM dial. Now, if that's too much to remember, just go to automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. Go to the top of the page there, and you'll see it says The Real Estate Show. Just click on it. If you're there during the time, we're streaming it live there. There's a live feed. If you miss any of our shows, you want to go back and catch up on what you missed. A lot of times when folks listen to our Friday show, they realize that, man, they should have listened to the Tuesday or the Wednesday show. And we'll talk about those shows in just a second. But you can do that on demand. You can download the podcast version, take it with you. You can listen to it right there on the website. And if that's not enough options, you can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, on the TuneIn app, the Spreaker app, just to name a few of the free apps that you can load onto your portable device, your tablets, your laptops, or your phones, and then take us with you on the go. And one more option, if you want to watch us, you can watch us on our Facebook page. Just go on to facebook.com/The Real Estate Show, as you see up above me. The Real Estate Show, spelled out, no spaces, no hyphens, The Real Estate Show. If you already have a Facebook page, you just put it in the search there. Look for the red and black logo, and you'll know that you're in the right place with Eric Willner. If you don't have a Facebook page, you can still go there. Just go to facebook.com/The Real Estate Show. Anyway, we got a great show for you. As you know, as we are broadcasting each day of the week, we don't repeat our shows. We actually go into a different aspect or a different angle to the real estate conversation. And we'll start out the week oftentimes with a theme that is kind of carrying through. Now, this week, of course, which was our inaugural month, that we're now going into the 5 o'clock hour. So you can bet that we were talking about that all week long. We've been talking about how we are live at 5, right during the busy drive home. We hope that you'll tune in and listen to us on your way home and catch maybe just a mini seminar a day on real estate, a little dose of your vitamin R for real estate. Anyway, we got our Mondays where we start out talking from a business point of view. You know, real estate is a tremendous business if you want to approach it from that angle. That's what Mondays is about. Is sort of a C-suite view of the real estate business, what you should be doing, how you should do it. And so we'll talk about things maybe from a little bit of a higher level, more a conceptual level, more of a business person's perspective. Now, of course, being that we were launching our brand new Live at 5, we were talking about how not only do we have our 5 days a week, twice a day, 10 shows, but we also have a number of workshops. Now, we can't cover everything that we want to share. And as you can tell, we never run out of information to share with you. The real estate market is that big, that diverse. But in addition to that, so that we can dive deeper in this particular areas, we also host free workshops off the air. And these, you're invited to come. We provide a link to our Zoom page. And so all you have to do is, if you want to attend any of those, now Monday nights, it's a regular thing. And we have what we call our Equity Accelerator Workshop, where we talk about how to build equity faster in your real estate, how to pay down mortgages faster on your real estate. And it has all to do with building real estate better, faster, more efficiently. And that's our conversation on Monday night. So if you want to get the more information about our Monday night workshops, all you have to do is text the word equity to 561-861-2366. That's right. We give out our text number right here on the air. We're completely accessible, and we want to make this information as easy to attain. And this is special for our listeners of the Real Estate Show. That line is dedicated right for our listeners of the radio show. Once again, that's 561. You want to jot this down, because each one of the night workshops that we're talking about has a different set of instructions, and you can access all with our special number, the 561-861-2366. So on Tuesday nights, following our Tools, Tips, and Techniques edition, we have our Credit Accelerator Workshop. Now, you can't have a conversation about real estate with the C word crawling in there. And we'll talk about credit every Tuesday night in our workshop, how to build it if you don't have it, how to fix it if you messed it up, and how to really take it to the next level and get it into the 700 excellent scores to the 800 elite scores. And we're helping folks all the time get into that 800 scores. And in addition to that, we talk about budgeting. We talk about a whole bunch of things that go right into that conversation. And that's why the Tuesday workshop is very popular. By the way, that happens at 8 p.m. every Tuesday. And you're invited to come. All you have to do is text the word credit to 561-861-2366. Then on Thursdays, we have a workshop which has now been come to be known as the Big Round Table. This is a sort of a business owners, business optimizers, a marketer's mastermind. If you want to get into real estate from a business person's perspective and learn the tricks of the trade that are working right now, what marketing is working right now, what management techniques are working right now, then come to our Thursday Big Round Table, and all you have to do is text Big Table to 561-861-2366, and that starts off a sequence where you'll get the Zoom login information from the access code to the passwords right here, specially and exclusively for the listeners of the Real Estate Show. So think about that. That's 5 days a week of shows, 3 days a week of workshops. I think you have to agree that we're probably the busiest people in real estate out there in the marketplace, and all of that in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, a huge economic and employment meltdown, and defying all sorts of gravity. We've got this hot real estate market, shortage of inventory, and I got a big announcement to make also when we come back from our break. So before we get into our highlights of this week, I'm going to take a quick break, hear a few words from our sponsors. You're listening to The Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Willner. Don't touch that dial because I'll be right back. Yes, sir. Same thing. I mean, I'm going to, when you say, what am I doing at 8 o'clock? Are you asking if I'm going to do it? I'm going to go live. I'm going to go live because I want to give enough fresh stuff so I'm not repeating too much. Yes, sir. Thanks. So I'm going to say this off the air, not on the air, but what do you get when you cross red and blue? Erica's shaking her head because I said I wasn't going to say anything about it, and I couldn't. I wanted a perfectly neutral color, and I said I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it, and she's laughing at me because I said it. So how's everybody else out there doing in real estate? We got huge announcements to make. If you're a landlord out there, obviously, as we now move into the end of the year, you're going to want to attend our upcoming landlord workshop, and that's going to be exclusive. That's not going to be every single week. So if you want to know more about landlord, then text the word landlord to 561-861-2366. We're coming back to the show. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us, you are listening to The Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate, America's longest running, believe it or not, longest running daily radio show all about real estate. I got the gray hairs to prove it. Anyway, The Real Estate Show has become a place where real estate investors come to learn more about management, about purchasing, about owning, operating, all the right things to do. And while we do talk a lot to the real estate investor and what they should do, homeowners ought to be paying attention to all of these ideas as well, because if you take just some of these tips into consideration when you make your home purchase, when it comes time to sell, you're going to sell faster and for more money. You know, The Real Estate Show, and this is where we talk about the sort of the highlights of this week. We started out on Monday as we have been, reinforcing our new time. We've been for a long time at the 8 p.m. hour, newly opened up the live at 5 hour. And we were talking about sort of reminiscing back to the roots of The Real Estate Show back in 1999, if you want to believe that. And we started this radio show with the idea that we wanted to share more about real estate. We felt that if there were more informed consumers about real estate, we'd have a stronger, more stable real estate market. Now, I can't take credit for why we have such a strong market in the face of of all the factors that otherwise you would think would cause the real estate market to be suffering, to be weak, to tumble. But the more knowledgeable, the more sophisticated, the more well-rounded real estate buyers are, the more likely that they're going to be able to weather these ups and downs. And the Real Estate Show, which literally has been through some of the highest highs, 2003, 4, 5, was incredibly strong years. We had not only double-digit increases in the value of properties, but we're not talking about 10%. We're not even talking about 20%. We had sometimes as much as 30% increases in the value. Now, if you were to go back, and you can go back and listen to some of our shows from back in those days, you would hear me saying, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. The law of averages will kick in at some point in time, and we're going to have to give back some of these tremendous gains, because over the long period, real estate does operate very well, somewhere between 5 to 7% steady over the last 100 years. So when you have a low times in real estate, remember, we're gonna gain it back at some point. And that's why we always would tell you that everybody is in real estate, right? Everybody is in real estate in one way or another. Now, the distinction that I like to make is that either you're on real estate or you're in real estate. And I will tell you that it is much better to be in real estate. That means you own it. You're in the business, the ownership of real estate. And even if it's as a homeowner, you are in your owned house. When you're on real estate, you're either the renter paying the rent to the owners who are in real estate. You're the employee that's going to the store, the office, the warehouse, that through your work, you're contributing to also pay the rent for the owner of that real estate. Now, the people in real estate also get not only the income from the property, they get the appreciation from the property, they get the tax advantages of the property, they get the appreciation, and they also have what no renter has, and that is leverage, the ability to own and control a large asset with a very small amount of money. As little as 3% in the case of an FHA homeowner loan, as much as 20% or more if you're buying investment property. So that whole conversation really stemmed from a one-line concept. This was sort of summarized why we started the real estate show, and that was we wanted to bring to as many people as possible the simple and safe approach to buying income-producing real estate. And that's what we did. We did a lot of it through the highs and, pre the bubble, and even through the lows during the bubble. The reason that when the real estate market was hot back in those days, we were the early pioneer in real estate on the radio. We weren't the first. We were, in fact, I think the second or third. I can't remember now anymore what it was. But today, we are the last man standing from those days, the longest running daily radio show. And that is because of the solid, proven, safe, and simple approach to buying income producing real estate, or real estate at all for that matter. And so that was really the concept that we brought to this show. And because of those long-standing fundamental laws that we kind of laid out that exist in real estate, that we shared along the way openly for free. Think about this. If we've been doing daily shows for almost 22 years, and all of that is recorded in our back office, all of that is available, all fresh content, constantly changing. I mean, there's not an area of real estate, from wholesaling real estate to rehabbing real estate to renting real estate to buying to selling, you name it. There is so much content and information. I challenge any other real estate guru, and I don't profess to be a guru. I'm just a guy here on the radio that shares what we've been doing in real estate for over 30 years. But I challenge anyone else out there with more content that is out there, period. And I know for a fact that it's the most content out there in terms of free information. So I hope you'll use it. It's all available. All you have to do is go to automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. And as you'll often hear me say, that place, the Automatic Landlord, is a place where we put up all of our events. We put up all of our information, access to all of our radio shows. It's a place where real estate investors and home buyers together look for assistance, for management, for support, for their quality income producing. And then we talk about investment quality, because if you have a property that's investment quality, whether you live in it or rent it, it really doesn't matter, because when it comes time to sell, you're going to maximize the benefit. So that was the conversation, how we started the week. And we kind of sort of reminding our listeners, and many new listeners that are now listening to us at this hour, what this radio show is really all about. It's really, sort of giving back. And now, of course, you probably won't mind if I tell you from time to time that we have offers of things to do, but the radio show is free. The workshops that we offer are free. Now, if you want to get deeper, if you want to talk about consulting, if you want to talk about coaching and mentoring from someone who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and is still doing it, then stay tuned and take advantage of some of our offers there. Now on Tuesday, which is when we go from the conceptual and the ideas, we now go into the concept of what are we actually doing? What do you use in terms of software? What contracts and things do you actually do? So it's our tools, tips, and techniques. And I love it. Thank you guys there on our Facebook page. We're getting lots of thumbs up floating up there. And that really, I appreciate that. That just gives us more energy and more enthusiasm to keep giving more and more to the community here. Then we talked about, how the real estate will behave in the marketplace that we have now as a result of the elections. Finally, the elections have been completed. We talk about the election fatigue. But once that fatigue wears off, you've got to dust yourself off, get back on your feet. And what are you going to do next? That's what we talk about on our tools, tips, and techniques. And so come every Tuesday, you're always going to walk away with at least one new tool, one new technique, or one of the things that we will always talk about that we hope that you'll take and put into practice. All of this show is all about doing things in the real world and putting it into practice. We talked about COVID fatigue. A lot of people are done with the COVID. Now, that doesn't make it go away. So be wise and be smart out there, but also be wise as to what you can do in spite of COVID. In fact, the American public is a very resilient public. The people here built the best country in the world for a reason. And that's because, you can knock them down, but they get right back up and they get back on the horse and they get back into the business and they'll figure it out one way or another. And at the end of the day, it's not how hard, you get hit. It's how hard you get hit and how often you get back up. And that's one of the secrets of the real estate show. We've been through the pandemic. We've been through the Great Recession. We've been through ups and downs that aren't as big in the economy. And yet every time we learn something from it, we adapt to that part of the economy, and then we take advantage. What works in real estate, and I think that's one of the reasons why having a fresh show all the time is so important, is because as the economy changes, sometimes it's great to go out there and buy properties in the wholesale, buy them for cash as cheap as possible, and then go ahead and you can just turn around and sell it for a markup. And in a market like we have today, that's not working very well because there's so much demand. There's so little inventory. There's so much money on the sidelines. We've often talked about specifically these hedge funds that are out there right now waiting. Salivating. And so are some small investors like you and I waiting for the break in the market. And there's going to be a break in the market that will change what the market is going on and so forth. And at that point, they're going to swoop in, which is one of the reasons why when I hear some of these in and out of town gurus that are really out there just to sell a bunch of books and tapes, and they tell you, get ready for a tidal wave of foreclosures and the absolute collapse of the housing market. And yes, that sells lots of headlines for newspapers and probably sells a lot of courses as well. But here's the fact of the matter. The banks are a lot smarter and much more prepared for this time around than they were back in 2007 and 2008. So it's going to be a much more compressed. There's going to be a window of opportunity. Yes, there will be when they lift these moratoriums. And these are the things we talk about during the week. In fact, rolling right into our Wednesday show, what we like to do is we always like to talk a bit about the news. Wednesdays, we call it our midweek report. And the midweek report is not about becoming a news agency. Quite honestly, I don't want to be part of the fake news out there or to compete for, to be the next Geraldo Rivera. I'm here to talk to you about what's going on in the marketplace and how that affects the decisions that you and I as real estate buyers need to make, keeping in mind the huge trend of people leaving large, concentrated urban areas, looking for more spread out areas. That's why Florida right now is on fire. And even when the moratorium lifts, it's probably going to suffer less this time than it did back in 2008 and 2007. Why? Well, think about all the people in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, and all the crowded areas that just found out, thanks to the pandemic, that they can do their job just as well sitting in Manhattan as they do sitting in Boca Raton, Florida, or Fort Lauderdale, Florida, or Miami for that matter. And let me tell you that in January, February, March, it's a lot nicer to be, and the quality of life in this area is much better. So there's going to be a demand even when, these folks are still able to keep their jobs, keep their work going and so forth. So again, one more reason why we're going to see. Now, the move to the suburban areas is augmented. Now, on top of that, there's another huge demographic trend that we talk about, the millennials. I'm not going to get into that in today's program. Remember, I'm just going to hit the high points, but that's another huge force as they mature into higher paying, more stabilized jobs, starting families, growing families. And now what you're going to see is sort of a passing of the baton. The baby boomers, which brought this market up to where it's at, they're making sideways, lateral, in some cases downsizing moves. And who's moving in? A larger generation. There's a greater population in the millennials than there was in the baby boomers. So that will more than make up for the downsizing. And that's just a bunch of things that we're talking about there, and why the midweek report is so popular amongst our listeners. They come to listen to find out, like Mario Lemieux used to say when he played hockey, I skate to where the puck is going to be, not to where it is. And that was the secret of his success and the success of the real estate show. And we're going to continue to talk about that. The music's coming in. Believe it or not, we're out of time. Listen to the real estate show. You can go check it out at automaticlandlord.com. Pick up where we left off. Thursday, we always talk about the money, and we had a great discussion this week about credit, money, finances, and so forth. Anyway, this is Eric Willner signing off for another live edition of the Real Estate Show. We'll be back again at 8 p.m., and we'll be back again every single day of the week. So until then, remember, drive safe, wash those hands, and make it a great day. Bye-bye. Thank you, Ken. You too. So Mario, I saw your comment on there, and I do see it. It is a statement in the form of a question. And decentralized technology. And technology is, they talk about another very controversial conversation going on out there. Needless to say, the technology has already changed. In fact, real estate has been one of the slower industries, if you really think about it, to adopt real estate. I mean, they've been using technology to compile lists and things like that. But now when you start to use algorithms in real estate and use real, AI is going to be a huge thing in real estate. But just think about, thanks to the pandemic in many cases, real estate got pushed into the future. And so what you're talking about, the access to technology and great information now just got popularized. It's much more accessible to more people. So it's not just the big boys that have access to all that information. Number one. Number two, as you put that together with the conversation I just had on the radio about the moving out of the crowded areas. Yes, decentralized technology will also decentralize a lot of real estate, which is kind of good because that means that a lot of outlying areas are going to grow. Blockchain title, that'll be good. In fact, as you know, that there's a company out there, kind of like the title, or what's it called again? Identity locking for credit. Title will also be important for that, for real estate. It's just starting to scratch the surface in going forward. Now, will that be a privacy issue? Right now, most of that information is public in most states, Texas being one of the exceptions that comes to mind. But it's a very interesting conversation. Now, the question I'll throw back at you, how do you think that's going to affect values? And that's really the big question here when it comes to owning real estate. It makes it more secure. So far, there's relatively little in the way of fraudulent transfers of title, but it is happening, and people are getting better at it. And so that's an interesting idea to bring up on one of the shows. We'll definitely have to talk about that. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Got a couple of things to do before we get ready for the 8 o'clock show. But we'll be back then. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for all the likes and the thumbs up. That reminds me, please I don't know. We'll talk more about that. Whether to deflate. Are you talking about me? Anyway, we'll definitely come back to that subject in one of our next shows. But make sure once we share this up there that you share this information out there. Let more people get access. Have more people be part of our community and make real estate much more available, understandable, and accessible to more people. By the way, I'm going to talk about that in our 8 o'clock show. See you then. Okay. Hi, I'm off the air, but not out of air. Coconut. What's your plan, baby? What's your time frame so that I can govern myself accordingly? Okay, give me like a little bit of half an hour? 10 minutes? Oops.